Hi, my name is David. I am the host of Let's Talk, the in-house podcast here at the Courier, and this is episode 8 of season 3, and it happens to be the final episode of Let's Talk. Well, it's the final episode for me, being a host. I don't know if it'll actually be the final episode of Let's Talk. That's up to whoever decides to pick this up, because hopefully next semester we'll have like a dedicated podcast editor, and you'll be seeing some other podcasts as well. So whether or not they choose to continue Let's Talk, we'll see. But yeah, I guess for now, this is like the end of, at least like for my stretch of it. I've been doing this for the past 3 seasons, so it's pretty surreal to be thinking about it as the last episode. But yeah, I mean, you know, all's well that ends well, I guess. So for this episode, I'm joined by Sam once again. You know, he's a friendly face or a familiar face in here. I don't even know how many episodes you've done at this point.
Too many.
Like 4.
I don't know. Yeah.
You're the
I'm the editor-in-chief.
Yeah.
This will also be my last episode.
Yeah.
Being on the podcast, as we both kind of transfer out of here and move on from PCC, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're the editor-in-chief. I'm the managing editor, and most of the editors right now are leaving, actually. I think the only people that are staying are like assistant editors, so not even like, there's not one person really. Laura, I guess. She's co-video social media?
Yeah, co-video and social media editor.
Okay, cool. I got that right. Unlike Seamus. But so it's pretty surreal. Actually, before I go too deep, and before we kind of explain what this episode's about, Jagger reminded me over the weekend that I misspoke last episode because we were talking about Berkeley, and then over the weekend I did a switcheroo, and then I went with USC instead.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and then I remember I told him, then he was all like, "You need to fix the podcast." I'm like, it literally just went up today, so I can't like just go back in. I was gonna forget about that, but anyway, we'll talk a little bit after about that. But right now, today, we're gonna do kind of a similar thing to what we did last semester, which was go over the top stories, not necessarily top stories, but some highlights from each section during the semester, kind of, you know, spotlight some of our writers here, some are editors, some are just normal staff writers, and just kind of go over how the semester went overall, which I think is one of our best so far. I mean, it's definitely one of the most populated newsrooms.
Yeah, it was definitely the most, and not just populated newsrooms, but in terms of content across all sections, I would say that this was definitely the highest tempo we've gotten, at least in my time with the Courier.
Yeah, for sure. Like, to the point where there'd be like, I mean, you know, we're not unfamiliar with seeing, you know, going past our deadlines in terms of like, oh, we need more time to edit and whatnot. But like this semester, there was times where we'd be like, yeah, we're gonna be done at 1:30 on Wednesday, and ended up being like done at like 2:30, and it was wild. But it was good though, because you know it just meant that everyone was actually writing, and there was always new stories coming out. So it's been pretty exciting just overall, especially like seeing where we've gone since last year. I mean, you were here fall 2022, and I can't even imagine like it being, what was it, like 6 people?
I would say it was like 12 people.
Okay.
But I mean, even then, we're talking getting maybe 7 or 8 stories a week, you know, like, and that is like, in comparison to this semester, like that would be like a drought week for, you know, like where we people submitted things and stuff like that.
That's true. Or like stories getting pushed back.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even like the last semester, like the worst of it was like, I think there was like 2 sections that didn't have anything, so like we had to like really turn around like 3 different stories to make sure like they go up. And this week we didn't have that really at all. I mean, there'd be a week when like 1 section didn't have anything, but that was more or less just like, you know, someone needed more time.
Yeah.
Not really a last minute thing. But yeah, I guess we'll just kind of, you have the list of like people to like go over, so I guess we'll start with news, because I feel like news is probably one of our strongest sections, if not our strongest section.
Yeah, I would say that the news section this semester, it was even stronger longer than the news section last semester,
which says a lot.
Which, considering how robust news was last semester.
Yeah, I mean, like under Seamus, it's been really great, and even Nathan's even said that this is probably our best news section ever, which I wouldn't doubt it. But it's really Seamus, Sabrina, and also Colin as well, who deserve major props for the work they've done as editors and also as writers too. But you have your stories.
So starting, actually, funny you just mentioned Colin. The first writer we want to highlight is Colin Haskins. He's mostly news writer. He's done opinion and all sorts of other stuff. He's written a very prolific number of news stories.
A lot.
The biggest one of all is definitely our divestment story, in which him, Sabrina, and Seamus work together to follow like the trail of investments that PCC as an institution has made towards companies that are in endorsement of Israel. He's also done several other stories focusing on divestment, like following ASPCC's resolution to call for divestment from the school. So, just stories like that are, groundbreaking, big stuff that doesn't come around all the time. They're very one in a million type stories.
Yeah, I mean, even just I think that's one of my favorite headlines from this semester, like bonds to bombs. Like it's so simple, but it gets like the point across. Like, and I remember at one of the walkouts during the semester, one of the people speaking actually referenced it, at least referenced like the content of the story, and Colin even shared. I forgot what the website was, but the piece was shared in like a list of like great university reporting, and mind you, we're on a list next to Yale, USC, UCLA, and then Pasadena City College, which is, I mean, it's pretty remarkable, but it speaks to how strong Colin, Sabrina, and Seamus's piece was just in quality, and it really is like one of like the best things I've read probably here.
Agreed.
And so then you said
the second writer we wanted to highlight for the news section is Shar. She was originally on our photo staff a couple semesters ago, and now she's a writer here. She did a lot of great work in news as well. The story that I wanted to pick out was her story on the double degree program that affects high school students that can come to PCC and earn their, I think it was like the transfer degree.
The associates?
Yeah, the associates. Yeah. And then they can move on to, do it in tandem with high school. Yeah. Which I thought was such, like the amount of reporting she put into it was really good, and like the story was really well fleshed out, which I think was really good. Yeah,
I mean, even with like I know like the past 2 semesters, just like from my time being here, like I've seen so many different degree programs that are either like finally picking up steam or just getting off, actually being offered to students. And I mean, it's just pretty remarkable to even see like a community college go like up and beyond of like what they can do in terms of like what kind of degrees people get here. I mean, I know I'm not sure if we actually covered it. It might have been on someone's story, but I think it was the science department that they're offering a bachelor's here, which is, I mean, just even that is pretty amazing. I actually haven't read Shar's story, but I mean, I'm sure it's really, a lot of her stuff has been really solid overall this semester.
And we've been singing his praises, but before we move on from news, just want to say Seamus, our news editor and the podcast editor, as always, has been on top of his news game, and he's transferring after this semester, so the Courier will miss him. I know that I'll miss him.
He's heading to North Cal, so Northern California, so he's gonna be real far from, I think most of us are staying like at least kind of like LA area, so it's gonna suck, but he'll probably find his way of like having some influence around here, one way or another, whether it's his haunting the office or whatever.
Alright, so moving into our opinion section, I will say that this semester our opinion section definitely ran a little lighter than usual, which always comes across as weird to me. Everyone has opinions.
I mean, I think it's more, I mean, at least for me personally, part of it was probably more to do with Cam, who was the opinion editor last year, like a year ago, not actual last semester, but last year. Just because I think he was really good at like getting a good spread of opinion stories. But when we did have actual opinion stories that went out, on a weekly basis, like they were pretty good. And you could tell that it was like stuff that people actually wanted writing about, and not just like picking something off on the budget. So,
so the first person we wanted to highlight is Gabriel Novoa. I just want to make sure I got it right.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of opinion stories. I think the two biggest ones, and in my opinion, his best work, is the Harrison Butker one.
Yeah.
And also the one about Shen Yun.
Yeah, both of them are really good.
Both of those are really well fleshed out opinions. You know, they're both negative opinions, which are always way more fun to read, in my opinion, than you glazing something.
You glazing. Yeah.
And I just think that the way his argument comes across in both pieces is very strong, and you understand like from the get-go what he's trying to say and like his stance on both of these topics.
Yeah, I mean, even the Shen Yun one, it was surprisingly like, because I think when you first pitched it, it was just sort of like Shen Yun's back in town, like let's talk about it, and then ended up being a lot more topical because I think I saw an article go up about them like recently. So happened to be like right at the right time, I guess. And then the other person's Kat.
So the other writer is Kat Poling. She's our assistant video editor. And she's also done a lot of good work in opinion. Stories I wanted to highlight is her one on rom-coms and also on fashion and how like dystopian things like the Met Gala are. Both of those stories are also like equally as well thought out and argued as Gabriel's pieces. They both have incredible structuring and in terms of, again, getting the argument across, you understand right off the bat where she stands on these topics, which is like ultimately in the opinion section, what you want to come across as.
Yeah, her and Gabe have really just, either sometimes like week after week, just, opinion stories back to back. And like another one from her that I remember was the rom-com about Anyone But You and When Harry Met Sally. That was also really interesting. But they're really great opinion writers.
Okay, and then so moving on to our features section, the first writer is Mitch Gaby. He's been at the Courier for a while. He started out on the photo staff, and now he's been the writer for this is third semester as a writer.
Yeah, so did Kat, actually. She also started off on the photo staff as well before it got axed, sadly.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
So Mitch wrote two incredible stories, in my opinion, about being a member of the LGBTQ community and this process that the school has in getting people who identify as transsexual, getting their names changed and legalized.
Yeah.
Both stories, the first one he worked on with Fern, who is our assistant features editor. And the second one, he actually talked to a person who was going through that process and kind of profiled them. And that story was also really strong, and I really enjoyed reading that.
Yeah, I mean, especially for him, he does a lot of reporting, like deep reporting. I think, like, to the point where, like, I think even Seamus would probably admit, like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And you could tell there's a lot of that in that story too. I really enjoyed the name change one because it's something that I think I didn't even know about until
I mean, like, to learn that like your school is like doing that and like being such a helpful resource for people who need that and like want that in their life is it's powerful.
Yeah. And then our other
second writer is Alex. She was on the photo staff last semester. I feel like we have a lot of people who came from the photo staff.
People,
and she did really good work in features. Definitely the one I want to highlight is the Culture Week that she did during Black History Month. Her event coverage for that was incredible. I mean, it was very robust, covered all aspects of it. I mean, it's like the perfect example of how to make covering an event that's already passed not boring.
Yeah, I mean, even I think that was one of the first feature stories that went out this semester, and it really, like, at least for me, set the bar for like what features can do. Which luckily we've had a lot of great feature stories this semester, especially like on campus, which I feel like usually isn't the case. We're either like when I first started off, it was either like highlighting subcultures that I saw a lot more of, and then it turned to more just events like around the area. So it's great to see just like stuff on campus being covered like on a frequent basis.
We've also done a lot of good profiles this semester. We have a ton of writers who did profiles for sports teams, for people. I know like
professors.
I know Dante, our lead video editor, did a profile on a student who created an AI bot to scare away coyotes in his area. Which is just like finding a gem like that and like being able to do that is such a cool thing to say that we've done, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, even with a community college, like there's so many different people that come here either for like one reason or another, not even just a transfer. Like I know people who come here for fun, like, which, you know, more power to them. And you see just like all these different types of backgrounds and like people who have these experiences that, you know, you wouldn't even know just from seeing them in class. And also to talk about profiles, we've done a lot of good video profiles too.
Yeah,
which, I don't know if you have it listed, but we should also talk about some of the social media stuff.
Oh, yeah, I don't, but we can definitely get to that.
I think we were probably thinking about the same one, but so that was lifestyle.
That was features. So moving on to our lifestyle section. First writer we're going to highlight is Naomi. She's a new staff writer, just joined this semester. She wrote a ton of good reviews and lifestyle stories. I know that my favorite review of hers was about Baby Reindeer, the Netflix show that just came out.
Also one of my favorite headlines.
Yeah, that headline was really good, actually. One of the ones that the second we read it, we're like, yep, this is staying. We're not touching this one at all.
I'm gonna butcher it, but I think to like paraphrase what it was saying, it was like Baby Reindeer is not for Christmas and not for babies.
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah, it's so good. I still haven't seen it, but
me neither. But I mean, like the way she weaves in the details of the show is really strong, and you get like a really good sense of like her opinion on it. Which, in a similar way to writing an opinion story, writing a review can be hard to get across like what you're trying to say. I know that as someone who writes a lot of reviews for the Courier, sometimes it's hard to get all your thoughts onto the page because you have so many.
Yeah, I've even also as someone who writes a lot of reviews that's actually going out this week. I even struggle with sometimes having like too little thoughts and like really trying to like get across like the word count and instead of just like restating whatever he said. So she does it really well, and she knows how to really weave the details without going like laundry list of like, I like this, I like that, I didn't like this so much, I like this, and then
the other writer we want to talk about is Laurent. He is our sports editor. He's written a ton of good stories about music and all that. I think my favorite story, and the one I wanted to highlight, is his recap of the Big Three drama. It kind of, half of that kind of saga drifts into the opinion section, but it started out with a recap in our lifestyle section, which published over our spring break, and I have to say it's one of the most entertaining stories I've ever read. Back before the drama escalated to what it became, I think it was just like a really funny, as Laurent's a fan of rap music and that, so like it really came across that like as an enjoyer you could tell that he had the experience and the knowledge to talk about all of this, and it, like as someone who doesn't listen to that, it's like I enjoyed it for that reason.
Yeah, as someone who does listen to that, he did a really good job of like just, I guess, capturing the chaos of it. And like really just that like staying up like every day during the week and be like, what's gonna happen next? Like it felt like World War III, but on a rap scale. It was super. He does a good job of really like kind of talking about the timeline of those events. But yeah, he just does a really great job at lifestyle. I know we covered him last semester as well for, I think it was opinion.
I think
we did he was in opinion, so now he's being featured for lifestyle.
Alright, so moving on into sports, we have Michael. He is our assistant sports editor. He is just a huge sports fan, so most of the weeks during this semester he was writing about sports in other sections. Huge Dodger fan from what I've learned from him. But he's done just a fantastic job of covering all the sports. He did a fantastic feature on the badminton coach. And he also did a ton of really good game stories full of details, and I know like actually his coverage of the badminton team in general was really good, and I think it's good that we got to cover that team alongside the other sports that we managed to go out for
sure. I mean, even I was going to say something. Because with I was actually just talking about this with someone, that spring is a lot more, I guess, not as eventful as the fall. I mean, because you don't have football. Really it's more just softball, which we covered a lot of actually, which was good. I mean, so even the fact that he was able to like do so much sports, and also just like in multiple sections, but also just in the actual sports section is I guess a testament to him. him, you know.
Yeah. And then the other writer is Samantha. She's also assistant sports editor.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, she also did a ton of great profiles. She did a profile of a track runner. Her swim profile was incredible because she took a very unique angle to it, as opposed to focusing on the game. She turned it into a profile of the swimmers themselves and like how complicated swimming actually is in comparison to like what we think about it. And she was also really good at covering, like she did a ton of great softball coverage, as did many other writers, since it was probably the sport that was on the budget the most every week.
Yeah.
In comparison to the other sports offered during the spring.
A surprise shout out to Fern's story.
Yeah.
I mean, just a lot of great softball coverage, which I can't even remember the last time we've actually like so strongly focused on one sport. Not that it was really on purpose, it was more just like happened to be one sport that we could actually cover on a week by week basis. But yeah, I mean, interesting because like, I mean, even last semester we only did 2 football stories.
I think it was 3.
3 football stories, yeah. So, you know, it's good to see like more spotlighting of a certain sport. And then, and social media, which I brought up kind of last minute, but I wanted to talk, or at least give like a quick shout out and just appreciation to Laura's video about the speaker.
Yeah, the music in the parking lot.
Yeah, which, I mean, probably one of our best, at least definitely one of our best edited videos, but also just like best in terms of content. I mean, I think it was also one of our more popular videos for sure.
I would say my favorite video from this semester is the one that Michael Leva did about the weed fairy.
Yeah,
I think too. That if that comes across as weird, me saying that, I know the video's on our channel, so you should definitely go watch that.
That's great.
It's great. It's the detective work that Michael did to get that interview and figure out who the weed fairy was and set it up and record it. It's just, I thought that was really fun and interesting, and I'm glad that Michael came back for the semester and worked on videos throughout.
Yeah, and then also shout out to the Weed Fairy themselves. They're also very nice person. So those are my favorite social videos.
I would just say like a shout out to the whole social media team. It's a team of 8 people, 8 or 9 people that every week we're coming up with ideas and getting stuff shot and edited. And, they did a ton of fantastic work. I will say that our social medias have been more alive than ever this semester. I
mean, even just to kind of put into context, like last year, I think there was only like 1 social media editor, and like even then, like I think the person wasn't really very consistent with even like putting up stories on like Instagram and whatnot. We don't really do that like too much like right now, but as far as like TikToks go, Reels, and like even our YouTube, which I think last semester was we had a hard time even like trying to find stuff to submit. It was a big improvement from where we started, and I mean it's really great to see like the new intro to our YouTube videos that Colin did, the outro as well. I forgot.
Laura made the outro.
Laura did the outro, yeah. So just a whole streamline of like everything that we do on social media. It's really great.
And then that's it for the specific writers, but just want to put out a general to everyone writing on the Courier, the editors, everyone did such a fantastic job. David did a great job. Wouldn't be the Courier without everyone writing and being participating and being open to edits and all that. Editors bringing it all together.
I mean, definitely one of the most collaborative semesters I've ever seen. Like the Courier. I mean, I haven't been here for that long, but who has really? I mean, it's pretty remarkable. I mean, even like I was thinking about this the other day that we don't really have editor meetings at all. But somehow we're still able to at least get everything done in a timely manner. I mean, I was even surprised at the fact that. For those who don't know, I'm also the editor-in-chief for Spotlight magazine, which is going out soon. I was surprised that we're even able to like still stay on the timeline that we set out like last year in June, July. So it's been great, and it's been a really great time, and you've done a really great job of holding the ship together. I know Nathan said something along those lines before, but it really has been like probably one of the best semesters, definitely one of the best experiences I've ever had, at least like on campus. and just in general. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to miss this place. I'm sure you are too. And a lot of the editors and people who have been here for one semester, which me and I think we've talked to this about Nathan, our advisor. Just, sometimes it sucks that when the best writers are only here for like the one semester or the 2 semesters. So, I mean, pretty great that I've been here for 3 and you've been here for 4. So, we've really been able to see a lot of great writers come and go. And yeah, I mean, just the fact that we're going is pretty surreal.
Yeah, it did.
It flies by.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I started in the fall of 2022, and now it's the spring of 2024, and I'm transferring and all that. It's like weird that much time passed so fast,
Yeah, I mean, especially, do you feel like it passes by faster for you because you do mostly online?
No, maybe a little. I will say that, like, because I only come here for the Courier, it's like I kind of just take it week by week. So, like,
oh, sure.
I kind of like almost savor the time that I'm here every week. I will say that for the last month, I've been here multiple times a week working on Spotlight, and it's made me like really appreciate like the campus and like just being here and experiencing getting experience with the Courier puts it all into perspective almost.
Yeah, I mean, even I was gonna say something. I totally blanked. Yeah, I mean, even just the things that I would find out about the campus through the Courier, just like on the budget. Like, I didn't know there was a dentist office before this. I didn't know. I mean, the name change. We just talked about that. I didn't even know about definitely not about the music at all. Which I would always wonder, like, just going to the parking lot, being like, who's playing that music? For a long time, I just thought it was like a random station, and then you would hear like people talking, and it'd be like, what is going on? So thanks to Laura for really clarifying what's going on there. But yeah, I mean, I've said it already, but I'm gonna miss being here and doing the podcast. Hopefully, I'll be able to do some form of this in the future. I definitely plan on doing something similar. I don't know what. I guess we'll see. And I mean, I know I'm sure you're gonna be writing for your newspaper too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I will be as well. So, yeah, I also look forward to what people will be doing with this podcast room in general. I mean, I do hope that people try to do more shows, not just Let's Talk, because I was looking the other day about like just other universities and how they do podcasts, and I was surprised by the amount of shows they have just in general. So hopefully there'll be different people in and out every week, every day maybe. And I think for where we're leaving off, it's at a good place at the very least. And I think we're at least leaving off on a strong note for the Courier. So yeah, that'll be it for me, and that'll be it for Let's Talk season 3, and hopefully not the end of actual Let's Talk, but if it is, then so be it. It's been great. Want to give a special shout out to Sol, who didn't come back for the semester, who kind of left abruptly, not intentionally, but things happen. But I started this podcast with her, so it wouldn't be where it is today without her, and it felt important to at least give her a quick shout out. And yeah, so thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. Even I actually think we get more views on YouTube than we do on Spotify. So more people watch than they do listen. But yeah, thank you, and that'll be it. So if there's anything you want to say.
No, I just I'm also gonna miss the Courier. Just want to say thanks for all the times I've been on, all the great conversations we've had on here, all the pumpkin carving episode is definitely probably still my favorite. The movie episode 2 weeks ago was fun too. And again, just shout out to everyone from the Courier to miss this place
for sure.
And yeah, I'm glad to have been at least a small part of it just for the 4 semesters that I was here.
Over 100+ years, mind you, which is a long time. Older than the actual campus itself. So. Well, not the older than campus, older than the school. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be it. So I'll see you. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah.